George Washington was born on February 22, 1732, at Pope's Creek in Westmoreland County, Virginia. He was the first of 6 children of Augustine and Mary Ball Washington. His father was a prosperous planter and surveyor, and his mother was a strong-willed and independent woman. Washington's early life was marked by tragedy. His father died when he was 11 years old, and his mother died when he was 17. He was then raised by his half-brother, Lawrence Washington. In 1748, Washington began his military career as a surveyor for the Virginia colony. He quickly rose through the ranks, and by 1754, he was a colonel in the Virginia militia. In that year, he led a force of Virginians against the French in the Battle of Jumonville Glen, which was the first engagement of the French and Indian War. Washington continued to serve in the French and Indian War, and he was eventually promoted to commander-in-chief of the Virginia militia. He led the militia in several battles, including the Battle of Fort Necessity in 1754 and the Battle of Fort Duquesne in 1758. After the war, Washington retired to Mount Vernon, his plantation in Virginia. He married Martha Dandridge Custis in 1759, and they had no children together. However, Martha brought 2 children from her previous marriage, and Washington raised them as his own. In 1775, the American Revolutionary War began. Washington was unanimously elected commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. He led the army through the war, and he was instrumental in the victory at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781, which effectively ended the war. After the war, Washington was one of the delegates to the Constitutional Convention in 1787. He played a key role in drafting the Constitution, and he was unanimously elected the first President of the United States in 1789. Washington served 2 terms as president, and he retired to Mount Vernon in 1797. He died on December 14, 1799, at the age of 67. George Washington was a complex and multifaceted figure. He was a brilliant military strategist and a skilled politician. He was also a slave owner, and he struggled with the moral implications of slavery throughout his life. However, he is rightly remembered as one of the most important figures in American history. He was the first president of the United States, and he helped to establish the principles of democracy and freedom that have guided the country ever since. Here are some other facts about George Washington's life. He was the tallest president, standing at 6 feet 2 inches tall. He was a very private person, and he kept a detailed diary of his life. He was a skilled horseman and an avid hunter. He was a Freemason, and he was the first president to be initiated into the fraternity. He was a devout Christian, and he attended church regularly. He was a great admirer of the British Constitution, and he modeled the U.S. Constitution on it. He was a reluctant revolutionary, but he was willing to fight for independence when he believed it was necessary. He was a wise and effective leader, and he helped to establish the United States as a strong and prosperous nation. George Washington was a remarkable man who played a pivotal role in the history of the United States. He is rightly remembered as one of the founding fathers, and his legacy continues to inspire people around the world.